Hey folks, Andy here from Aussie Homesteads. Absolutely pouring down and cold, wet and miserable outside, so I thought I'd move inside and do a video today on sizing of your inverter and different types of inverters for your off-grid property. Now, basically, what is an inverter? An inverter takes 12 volts through this end and pumps out 240 volts through the outlet on the other end. Now, what's the difference between a pure sine wave inverter and a non-pure sine wave inverter? Well, in Australia, we run on 240 volts at 50 hertz. So what does that 50 hertz mean? Well, that just simply means that in your cables you have a positive and a negative and a ground. And they can be red, black, which they used to be, but now they're changed to brown and blue. It doesn't matter. 50 times every second, 50 hertz, 50 times every second that changes positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. And it causes what's called a sine wave. Now, if you have a look at a pure sine wave, it's a gentle curve and it goes positive, negative, positive, negative. And it's a beautiful smooth curve. And that's really clean electricity. So a pure sine wave inverter will give you that lovely clean line. So that's 50 times every second it goes positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. Now, a non-pure sine wave inverter, which of course they're cheaper. These are really, really cheap. These are about $47. This is a 300 watt one. That's a 2000 watt one. And over in the big shed, we have a King's 2000 watt pure sine wave inverter. And the difference is that these non-pure sine wave ones will give what's called a chopped wave. So instead of it being smooth curve, it goes up, chops off the wave and goes down and chops off. That's a dirty type of electricity. It's fine for normal things like fans and battery chargers that aren't sensitive to electrical pulses, but things like your computers and particularly compressor fridges, they don't like running on non-pure sine wave inverters. Now, the difference is, of course, price. You can get a non-pure sine wave inverter for about $40. So that's a 300 watt. But 300 watts is its peak power, so don't be fooled into thinking that you can pull 300 watts out of these things. You'll only get about 190 to 200 watts continuous power. So how do you know what size inverter to buy for your off-grid property? Well, here's a simple way. Make yourself a list of all of the objects that you're going to be using and pretend that they're all going to come on at the same time. And that will give you a peak amount of watts to be able to match it up to the right size inverter. So you go through and make a list and total it. And I've just made these figures up, but you get the idea. So say your total was 750 watts. You're going to double that figure, and that gives you 1500 watts. So a 1500 watt inverter will run all those comfortably. Okay, now how do you measure how many watts each object does? Say that you've got a box fan, the label's fallen off, and it doesn't say that it runs on 40 watts on high. Okay, well, you can buy things to measure the watts. This one is a 12 volt watt meter. You can get these on eBay, they're about $24. And you plug one end into your power supply, and you plug the object that you're going to be running into the other end. And it will tell you how many watts it's actually physically drawing. Now, the other way that you can do it, if you're going to do it off of 240 volts, is you could plug something into these things here, called a watt master. And the watt meter will actually measure, once you've plugged an object into it, that's what they look like there. You can get them, I got one at Aldi actually, it was about $22, but you can get them on eBay, and you plug it into your 240 volt supply, and it will tell you how many watts that object is actually pulling. So that's the fastest way to size your inverter, is to go through, list it, and then double it. And you do the same with your generator. So say that you were pulling 1500 watts. You need a 3000 watt inverter, or 3 kilovolts generator to be able to run all your objects at the same time. So there you go. That's the difference between a non-pure sine wave inverter and a pure sine wave inverter, and it just simply means that it's either very, very clean electricity, which means you can safely plug your computer and everything into it, or a non-pure sine wave will give you that chopped wave. So I thought I'd just do that quick video. It's just to give you an over. It's the first thing that I did when we came up here. We added up all the number of watts of everything that we used, and then we sized the inverter to our needs. So it's Andy signing out from Aussie Homesteads here. I hope that someone helped someone. If you've got any comments, drop them down into the comments down below and I'll certainly get back to you. But I'll catch you up on the next one. Bye for now.